It's 7 o'clock and I would like to call the meeting to order. Please stand and join me for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Martha, please call roll.
Davis.
Here.
Flora.
Here.
Inman.
Here.
Crane.
Here.
Quinn.
Here.
Rothrock. Here. Flossmacher.
Here.
Thomas.
Here.
Thank you.
Before we get started this evening, I would like to welcome everyone to our meeting this evening. There will be various times throughout the agenda for public comment. If you are here on a specific agenda item, I would appreciate it if you could hold your comments until that time, and when that agenda item comes up, if you would like to be recognized, please raise your hand. If you're here to speak about something that's not on the agenda this evening, we do have a place. It's item 5 for public comment. So if you're here for something that's not on the agenda, item 5 will be the time to make your comments. This evening we do have a public hearing on the 2018 budget. Ms. Smith.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. As you know, when we adopt our annual budget in August of each year, we set the maximum expenditure authority for each fund or taxing authority for that particular fiscal year. And exceeding those expenditures without formally amending the budget would result in a violation of Kansas budget statutes. So furthermore, state law also requires that before we can amend the budget, we need to hold a public hearing similar to the process that we use when we initially adopt the budget. We have scheduled a public hearing for this evening's meeting for the purposes of considering an amendment to the Mission Convention and Visitors Bureau Fund. This is a fund that is very difficult to budget each year because it is generally a pass-through for expenses related to the Mission Business Partnership, our holiday adoptions, and a variety of other things. So we never spend more money out of this fund than we take in a particular year, but at the time in August when we set the budget, it's difficult to know what our expenses may be. This year, the amendment, we're asking to increase the expenditure authority from $60,000 to $90,000. The largest expense out of this fund is for our Mission magazine. That accounts for about $45,000 of the total each year. This year, the Mission Police Department and Chief Ben Hadley were very successful in some fundraising efforts for Alex Godwin. We brought in about $8,000 that we were able to contribute to Alex that we weren't initially anticipating, and then we've had tremendous success again with our holiday adoption program. So I'd be happy to answer any questions, but those are the issues that are driving the request to amend the 2018 budget for the Mission Convention and Visitors Bureau Fund.
All right, so we're opening the hearing, and I would mention that this item related to the hearing, the items on the consent agenda, and the items related to our committee agendas were all thoroughly discussed and debated at the December 12th committee meetings. I would open up the hearing. Is there anyone from the public that would like to make comment on this budget amendment? Seeing none from the public, I would entertain a motion. I'm sorry. We're voting under item 7D. So, being no comment from the public, I will close the public hearing and we will vote on this under item 7D. All right, special presentations. We do have some special presentations this evening. First, I would like to recognize the Firewalk Restaurant for their many years in Mission. Recently, the restaurant did close its doors after 33 years of being one of our city's best-known destinations. I think we've all enjoyed the great food at the Firewalk over the years, and their presence on Johnson Drive will be sorely missed. I'd like to invite Bonnie Wynn forward and her family and guests. And Bonnie, if you could introduce your family and guests, and I'd like to present you with a token of our appreciation. Yeah, sure. Short as the tallest.
My husband, Tim, my nephew, Tyler, Ethan, Ian, Jordan, my son, Kobe, my son, my brother, Kevin, my other brother, Ryan, and Hank, Kevin's wife, and my mom.
Wants to say a few words.
I just want to say thank you, everybody, in the Mission Community Center and area for supporting us through all these years. We would have never been able to do it without you guys, and we're going to miss everybody. I see a whole bunch of people in this room that I recognize, and we really want to say thank you for everything. It's been amazing. 32 years. And we'll keep you posted on our new adventures.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, our next presentation is also to honor someone, a longtime member of our business community that is retiring. It's Gregg with AnswerPro Limited. We want to thank Doug for his service also and his community leadership to mission. Doug has served on various boards and committees, including our sustainability committee. Doug also generously donated the community center mugs that we use on a regular basis. He has been a sponsor of Coffee with a Cop event, helping to bring our community together. Doug, we wish you well in retirement, and thank you for helping make Mission a great place for business and residents alike. Doug, would you come forward, please?
Pleasure to be part of the Mission community. I started out at the original Hickory Grove grade school at Johnson Drive in Lamar and spent my entire life here for the most part, except for 20-some years I lived in the state of Wisconsin. But to know a lot of great people, great city staff, all the members of the council, and I've worked with a few over the years. It's great to be part of the city of Mission. Thank you very much.
Gregg, what island are you headed to?
Abaco.
So, I didn't tell anybody I was doing this.
Uh-oh.
So, ever since we started Coffee with a Cop, you and Sandy have really helped make this happen. And I appreciate you showing up to every one of the Coffee with the Cops, unless you were at the island, right?
Yeah, a little hard to get there from
It is, but you could have called.
Yes.
So I wanted to present this to you, and it is Skype. Your honor and dedication to the community has been invaluable. Know that your officers always have a pot going, and you're welcome anytime from your mission officers.
Thanks.
So,
In the late 60s, when the City of Mission had a police force, but nobody to answer answer their phone after hours. We were in the Muscle Keach building, and the phones were forwarded to our office. We had the greatest security in the world. There were no 24-hour businesses then. Always at least 2 cop cars parked right outside our door, because there was always a pot of coffee going.
Thank you.
All right, now I'm going to turn over our special presentations to Ms. Smith and Chief Hadley to recognize several of our community center and police department employees.
Come on, the Chief go first.
Okay.
Thank you. So one of the nice things about working for a city is you may sit behind a computer a lot of the day and you may talk to a few people, but you never know what's going to happen. That's a nice part of the job. But then there's bad days as well, right? So I'm going to cheat and look off my paper here. So on November 13th at 8:58 in the morning, one of our officers, Jeremy Saul, he could not be here tonight due to some family obligations, received a call over at the community center about a person that had gone unconscious and was not breathing. As soon as he arrived, Lewis from the community center was already trying to do CPR and had already hooked up the AED, which we have one right here. Had hooked that up, and due to his training and everything, knew exactly what to do. Lewis had to use the AED and advised to shock several times on someone. Officer Saul jumped in and started helping out with CPR. Everything was done exactly right that day. And this was a company that is local that came in just to do a meeting at the community center that happens every single day. And due to his efforts, Lewis and Officer Saul, they saved his life that day. So Lewis, if you'd come up here. So usually these go out to only members of the police department, but working in conjunction with our officers and everything, and because of what you did, you saved someone's life. And that is a certificate of appreciation from the police department. I know the city's got some other stuff for you, but I appreciate you saving somebody's life in our city.
We all know when there's an emergency, we pick up the phone and we dial 911 and we expect our public safety personnel to respond. One of the great things about our city and what happened on this day was that our community center staff were poised and ready to respond. And I would like to invite, is Erica, did she make it? Nope. So Erica Zeitz is not here this evening. She's an entry desk staff member, but if Nick Shepard and Jenny Smith and Lewis is here and Jalissa Colbert will please join me up here. They really, as the chief said, the call went out, but this group of community center employees really from start to finish are the reason that we have an individual who was able to celebrate Thanksgiving with his family this year. From the first time that the participant in the training conference came out and notified Erica that there was a problem, Erica radioed for Nick. Nick went to go, Nick and Jenny arrived on the scene and then went in search of Lewis because Lewis, as our aquatics manager, is also a Red Cross trainer for first aid, AED, and CPR. Lewis responded, again, as the chief mentioned, to assess the emergency and was joined by Jalissa. And it was really as a result of their efforts, again, that this gentleman survived. So we thank you all for what you did that day. And so and Aaron Cherry, and I'm sorry Aaron Cherry couldn't be here with us this evening either. It's good to know that we have people who are trained and ready to respond. The other thing I think that's really important is that Lewis and his staff took this opportunity as part of their ongoing training in CPR and AED to use this as a training scenario. So they replicated that kind of from start to finish with that call coming in, going and grabbing the bag out of the aquatics area, and practicing this in real time earlier this month. So I commend them not only for what they did that day, but but for looking at this as an opportunity to really strengthen the skill set of our employees and build on that for the future. So, Louis, congratulations. Thank you. We appreciate everything that you do. Thank you. And for Nick and Jenny. Thanks, sir. Thank you. Thanks, Jenny.
You all maybe stand in front of the podium and pose maybe with Mayor Answer?
No marshmallows.
One more presentation this evening, and it is recognition of Brian Scott, who recently became a certified public manager. Ms. Smith.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. So the CPM program, Certified Public Manager Program, is a nationally accredited management program and certification in which participants develop and strengthen management skills through a competency-based curriculum. The Kansas Certified Public Manager Program was established in 1993, and since that time, close to 1,600 public managers from all across the state have completed certification. Brian participated as one of 87 members in a class that went through the program this year, and it is a significant time commitment. It is 300 hours of structured learning. They meet in a classroom setting 2 days per month for a year. And they also then have a blend of classroom hours, online learning, and outside assignments, culminating with a capstone project. Most of you know that Brian has been wearing our community development hat, preparing planning commission reports, reviewing plans, issuing building permits, you name it. In fact, he also, his capstone project was working on an RFP for municipal court software and assisting the city clerk and court staff through that process. So certainly I had the pleasure of being able to go to Topeka. Their graduation ceremony was held on the floor of the House of Representatives chambers on November 30th. And it was very impressive to listen and see the representatives from across the state who have achieved this great honor. So Brian has had a very successful career, continues to have a very successful career, but wanted to recognize the time that he spent to better himself and his professional development this last year. So thank you, Brian. I think he's trying to get a few things off of it.
Thank you.
All right, that ends the presentations, and we move on to item 3 on the agenda. That's issuance of notes and bonds, and we do not have any notes and bonds this evening. So item 4 is the consent agenda. Our consent agenda does include 9 items tonight. Our council committees met on December 12th and fully discussed each of these items. The committees agreed that these items listed are routine enough that they could be considered under a single motion. Several other items considered by the committees will be presented under separate committee reports later on in our agenda. If a council member or a member of the public would like an item removed from the consent agenda, now would be the time to make that request. Hearing none, I would entertain a motion.
Mayor, I move the city council adopt the consent agenda as printed, items 4A through 4I.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, please call for a vote.
Davis.
Aye.
Schlossmacher.
Aye.
Flora.
Aye.
Thomas.
Aye.
Inman.
Aye.
Crane.
Aye.
Rothrock.
Aye.
Quinn.
Aye.
Motion carries.
All right, item number 5, public comments. This is an opportunity from a member of the public to comment on something that is not on the agenda this evening. If you do have a comment, please come forward, state your name and your city of residence for us, please. Yes, Kim.
Hi, I'm Kim Donaway. I live at 5535 Rigg Street, Mission, Kansas. And this is an observation. Also listening to the earlier, now I'm really confused because I was told the Mission Convention and Visitors Bureau was disbanded. And earlier this evening I was actually looking for meeting minutes, and it goes, the last meeting minutes were in 2015. And I heard the words pass through this evening for what the Convention and Visitor Bureau is, because my whole question was, so I printed off the entire year, that there was a committee that was formed for the holiday families and all the family stuff that we do throughout the year. And when I asked about it to find out when the meeting was, in October when I first heard about it, because Mayor Appledoff requested a committee to be formed, which utilizes city services and city staff. And they said, oh, there's just 4 people. And I said, okay, it's kind of like dismissed, like when I've asked before. And so then all of a sudden in November it shows up, and I hear that there's a meeting that was held. There is no meeting anywhere. And so then, to top it off, because I have provided fresh produce for years for these events. And we're going back way before Susie got involved, when Angel was, and we started this way back then. And I had a young lady come up to me, and RC was standing there with me, and she thanked me for providing the produce. And she goes, and I'm on the committee. And I looked at RC and I said, really? I said, well, thank you very much. Nowhere is there a meeting here. I would like to know where the minutes are for these meetings that were held on city property with city staff, because I'm funding their hours too. Because what I was told was it was just 4 people, and then I find out that there's more people on that committee. And I do have an issue with that, because we have laws of disclosure, and this is just not right. It just isn't. And I'm really disappointed. And if the Mission Convention and Visitors Bureau is still acting as a pass-through, why is it not on here? Where are the meeting minutes? Because the last meeting minutes are 2015. I'm lost, because when I go, I'm very busy working, so I'll take a glance at the calendars to see what's happening, because a lot of times I'm rolling into 6:30, 7 o'clock before I'm even coming in from what I do. This is the only thing I can count on. Same thing when I requested that the Mission Magazine, their meetings, because it's on city property, be published. And I forced them to do it a while back, but now they're off again, and we're funding it. They're asking for $45,000. Where's their meeting? Because it's sitting on public property, and I'm funding that. So I'd like to see a little bit of a cleanup in how we operate as a city with all these different committees, and that they post it, because there's a lot of citizens out here that we're interested, and we'd like to know, instead of things happening before closed door. Because at this point, I'm done. So thank you very much.
All right, thank you, Kim. Any other comments by the public? All right, seeing none, we'll close that portion. Move on to item 6, which is action items. We do not have any action items from our planning commission this evening, so we'll go to committee reports. And first, we will hear from Councilmember Schlafmacher on finance and administration.
Thank you, Mayor. We have 4 items tonight to cover on our Finance and Administration Committee meeting. So I'll go ahead and start with item number 7A, which is the Non-Discrimination Ordinance. Finance and Administration Committee met on December 12th and discussed 14 items. The Non-Discrimination Ordinance came up during our last couple Finance and Administration Committee meetings. We discussed an ordinance both in the October, November, and the last December committee meeting. The The intent of the ordinance is to provide uniform legal protection within the city of Mission, prohibiting discrimination in employment, housing, and public accommodations on the basis of race, color, religion, national origin, ancestry, sex, sexual orientation, gender identity, age, disability, marital status, familial status, or military status. The ordinance would also provide for a complaint and enforcement process. As the committee discussed the ordinance, postcards were also mailed to all businesses, including the city's business license database, and all properties included in the rental licensing database to advise the stakeholder groups of the issues the council was considering. Information was also available on the city's websites, including a reference page and online comment section. Public comment was taken at both the October and November meetings. A draft ordinance was presented at the November committee meeting, and following consideration by the committee, it was recommended the draft ordinance as presented be forwarded to council for consideration with one change included in the final ordinance. The amount of civil penalty would change to $1,000. If approved, this ordinance would take effect after its publication on January 1st. So, Mayor, I move the City Council adopt an ordinance amending Title VI of the Code of Ordinance of the City of Mission, Kansas, relating to civil rights.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. We'll open discussion. Is there anybody from the public that wants to make comment on this item? If you would, please raise your hand.
Mayor, if I might make just one point of clarification. Councilmember Floor did point out that the packet has been revised, but I inadvertently did not take out number 5 in section 615.020 declaration of policy number 5, which would have been consistent with the discussion that occurred at the council committee meeting. So the agenda packet was revised earlier, and number 5 was removed in its entirety.
All right, so anybody from the public want to speak on this issue? Seeing none, I would open it to council discussion. Anybody have something they want to discuss? Mr. Quinn.
Yeah, if I could, I don't really want to discuss it, but I feel it's a very important issue, but I don't think it's a motion that I can support tonight. I think this should be handled at the state level, not city to city. I think that's a bad way to approach this. It's too important an issue to have 200 possibly different ordinances relating to it. But I do think it should be handled at the state level, and I think that's been kind of pushed down from the state reps who couldn't get it passed or didn't try to get it passed, and they're trying to approach it differently now. They've even spoken at some council meetings, some of the representatives, to try and get cities to pass the ordinance. In my opinion, they're shirking their duty doing that, but I know it's an emotional issue, but I don't think emotion is the way to make a decision as a city council person, and I hope the other council people will keep that in mind. And also, I think enforcement could be a problem, as well as the cost of the city to adjudicate this, any claims or cases that came up as they adjudicated up the ladder to higher in the state or even to the Supreme Court. So for those reasons, I will be voting no on this.
Any other discussion?
I have a quick comment. I'd like to just commend Councilmember Flora for bringing this forward. And as we've seen over the past couple months, how many people have spoken to this on their personal experiences of discrimination. Moving this NGO forward means that we confirm that Mission is a safe and inclusive community. So I look forward to hopefully some similar votes in support of the NGO, and thank you for all the Mission residents who are here and have given testimony over the past couple months.
All right, Ms. Gregg.
I just want to say we've been working on this for some time, and I want to preface my statement by saying I've been on this council almost 20 years now, and one concern I will share is I would like to think that this city is a leader in and of itself in the concepts that come up, in the issues that we address collectively and individually how we vote, and I would like to see us stay that course where it's nonpartisan in nature and we look at city issues as they affect day-to-day operations and citizens in this community. This issue was concerning to me when it first came up because it came through a political ring, and I didn't like that. I have no problem supporting anything where there's non-discrimination in nature, and I will be voting in support of the ordinance because of that.
stay nonpartisan and deal with the issues that the city has jurisdiction over, not through political process. Thanks.
Solly.
Yeah, so as Councilwoman Thomas said, I was the one that put this ordinance forward. As I said at our original committee meeting, I started thinking about this ordinance in the spring when I heard from constituents who were concerned about the passage of the adoption discrimination bill. And then when they heard about the unified government in Wyandotte County passing a non-discrimination ordinance, they came to me and asked if this was something that we could do. And I think, the only organization that we've had coming out in support is we've had chamber groups coming to speak and support the ordinance, and also Equality Kansas, which is another nonpartisan organization. But more importantly, as Councilwoman Thomas said, I would like to thank all of the members of our community who have come and spoke in favor of this ordinance. And I appreciate those who have come and spoke against the ordinance as well, because it's important to have a public process and have everyone's voices be heard. And I would love to see everyone continue to be engaged, who's come out and been engaged on this issue. Maybe not everything is as exciting, or you might not have as many other visitors along with you, but keep an eye on the agendas and keep coming back, and that's really, really important to us. And I will be voting in favor of the ordinance, and I am happy to talk to anyone about it.
Any other discussion?
Yeah, I just have a couple of questions on points of clarity. I just want to make sure that we are looking to vote on the ordinance that was proposed with our November packet, with the exception of the change of the $1,000 fee increase.
Yes.
Okay. So the other potential changes that might have been discussed at the December committee meeting are not included in what we're voting on at this point, right?
That is correct.
Okay. Just want to clarify that. In some ways, I agree with Councilmember Quinn that I think that this really is a state level issue, but I also know that it's a way that we can take a stand and help support, non-discrimination in this community. I would like to make sure, and maybe again as a point of clarification, that we're not also passing something that will bring in any sort of discrimination action into the city process. It wasn't that clear to me in the ordinance that was written here. So what would the process be for existing protected class complaints, I guess, that would come in?
As the discussion happened at the December 12th meeting, and as it's included in the ordinance in front of you, the city would intake those complaints, and we would have the opportunity to direct those people to other entities that might be able to assist. But if they chose not to go that route, the city would then move forward with the investigation process on those complaints.
Well, I think it's a way that we can take a step to maybe get a little momentum at the state level. I really hope that each and every one that's passionate about this, and I know there's a lot of you that are, continue to push at that level, because there are a lot of legal gray area things that come into play if this isn't handled at state or higher levels. So I would just encourage all of you to keep pushing at that level too. I think that's very, very important.
All right. Any other discussion? Seeing none, please call for a vote.
Flora,
Aye.
Quinn,
No.
Inman,
Aye.
Kring,
Aye.
Davis,
Aye.
Schlossmacher,
Aye.
Thomas,
Aye.
Rothrock.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
Next up on our agenda, we have item 7B, a resolution to call a public hearing on establishing CID for the Rolling Court Townhomes. In August 2017, subsidence of the parking lot and parking area of the Rolling Court Townhomes occurred. Since then, staff has been working with the residents, consultants, and engineers to address the situation, and a cooperative solution has been identified. Creation of a new community improvement district for this area would allow for a special assessment component to be activated to allow property owners a longer period of time to repay the repair costs. Before a CID can be considered by council, the Homes Association would have to guarantee that the property owners representing at least 55% of the land area, and 55% of the assessed valuation within the district would sign the petition. These thresholds have been met and a valid petition for consideration by council has been submitted. The next step is to set the public hearing, which would be accomplished through this proposed resolution. Public hearing would be set for January 16th, 2019 at 7 p.m. at the City Council meeting. This resolution does not commit the city to any other action related to establishment of the CID at this time. Mayor, I move the City Council adopt a resolution calling and providing for the giving of notice of a public hearing and the advisability of creating a community improvement district in the city of Mission, Kansas, to be known as the Roland Court Townhomes Community Improvement District, and regarding the city's intent to issue general obligation bonds and levy special assessments within such district.
Second. We have a motion and a second. Discussion. Seeing none, please call for a vote.
Inman.
Aye.
Flora.
Aye.
Davis.
Aye.
Thomas.
Aye.
Crane.
Aye.
Quinn.
Aye.
Rothrock.
Aye.
Schlesmacher.
Aye.
Motion carries.
All right, next up we have item 7C, updates to contracts for animal control services. The Northeast Animal Control Commission was originally established in 1983 and included the cities of Fairway, Mission, Mission Woods, Roland Park, Westwood, and Westwood Hills. In recent years, various member cities have expressed a desire to leave the commission and explore alternative service delivery. After careful evaluation, Mission believes our residents will be better served if animal control services are provided in-house through the newly created position of Community Service Officer. Mission is committed to offering animal control services to other current NEAC members on a contractual basis. Contract documents were developed and reviewed by all current member cities, and their respective governing bodies have approved contracts to become effective January 1st, 2019. These contracts now need final approval by City Council. So Mayor, I move the City Council approve the individual contracts with the cities of Roland Park, Fairway, Westwood, Mission Woods, and Westwood Hills to provide animal contract services beginning January 1st of 2019.
Second. We have a motion and a second. Discussion.
Just one question, what was the length of the contract? Is it a year to year at this point? Or?
It is year to year.
Okay.
Any other discussion? Seeing none, please call for a vote.
Flora.
Aye.
Inman.
Aye.
Crane.
Aye.
Quinn.
Aye.
Rothrock.
Aye.
Schlesmacher.
Aye.
Davis.
Aye.
Thomas.
Aye.
Motion carries.
All right, the last item on our Finance and Administration Committee report tonight is regarding what we discussed earlier with the public hearing around 2018 budget amendments. The adopted annual budget establishes the maximum expenditure authority for each fund or taxing authority, and exceeding these expenditures without formally amending the budget is a violation of Kansas budget statutes. Public hearing on the proposed budget amendment was held at the beginning of our meeting tonight. This budget amendment is not the result of unanticipated or unauthorized expenditures, but results from the fact that the Mission Convention and Visitors Bureau Fund is used as a pass-through for a variety of fundraising opportunities. The expenditure authority is being increased to account for holiday adoptions and collections received to support Alexander Goodwin and Alexander's Journey and other charitable giving activities over the past year. Funds expended do not exceed revenues collected. This budget amendment is established by resolution and will increase the expenditure authority in the 2018 budget for the MCVB fund from $60,000 to $90,000. So Mayor, I move the City Council adopt a resolution of the City of Mission, Kansas, amending the maximum expenditure authority for the 2018 budget for the Mission Convention and Visitors Bureau Fund.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Discussion.
Mayor, if I might, I think Ms. Dunaway may have gone, but I did want to provide one point of clarification. The Mission Convention and Visitors Bureau Committee was disbanded in 2015 and has not been meeting. The Mission Convention and Visitors Bureau Fund is the repository for the transient guest tax that we collect off of the one hotel that is currently in our city. And so we are required to have a separate fund for purposes of tracking those revenues and expenses related to that transient guest tax. We also use that fund for some of our other charitable activities, but there is no statutory requirement that we have the Mission Convention and Visitors Bureau Committee.
All right. Any other discussion? Solid.
I just would, following Kim's comments, and I understand, Laura, what you're saying about the statutes, but I would like, when we revisit the program, to talk about some of the transparency issues that Kim raised. You know, we had already when we created the contract for Ms. Gibbs. I can't remember now what the term was on that, but there was some discussion about, having more people involved in the process. So I think whenever we turn back to that, it'd be good to discuss the issue she raised as well.
Anything else? Seeing none, please call for a vote.
Davis.
Aye.
Quinn.
Aye.
Rothrock.
Aye.
Inman. Aye. Flora.
Aye.
Crane.
Aye.
Thomas. Aye. Schlossmacher.
Aye.
Motion carries.
That concludes our Finance and Administration report, Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Next, we have Community Development Committee, Ms. Inman.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The Community Development Committee also met on December 12th and discussed 4 items. For consideration by council tonight is a rental agreement for use of the Sylvester Powell Jr. Community Center by the Mission Project. The Mission Project is a nonprofit agency located in Mission. Approached the community center to consider a partnership to provide services and programs for their members. Members of the Mission Project have outgrown their current fitness space and are looking to increase overall health and wellness by moving to the community center. Under the terms of this agreement, the community center would offer annual memberships and user-specific classes 6 days a week. In 2018, there were 12 Mission Project participants with the community center memberships. Under this agreement, the number will increase to 31, resulting in more Mission Project participants having access to additional wellness opportunities. The estimated annual revenue from this cooperative agreement is $30,400. Mayor, I move the City Council approve the proposed agreement for membership and services between the Mission Project and the Sylvester Powell Jr. Community Center.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Discussion.
I think it's a great partnership.
Yeah.
All right, Martha, please call for a vote.
Thomas.
Aye.
Davis.
Aye.
Schlossmacher.
Aye.
Rothrock.
Aye.
Quinn.
Aye.
Crane.
Aye.
Inman.
Aye.
Flora.
Aye.
Motion carries.
That concludes the Community Development Committee.
All right, thank you. Moving on to item 8, unfinished business. We do not have any unfinished business. Item 9 is new business. We have no new business this evening. Item 10 is comments from the City Council. This is an opportunity for comments from our council members. Does anyone have anything they would like to share? Ms. Crane.
Just want to mention that Friday we will be putting together packages and wrapping gifts for needy families. We still have, I might be wrong, but Jenny, you might attest to this, we still have a bunch of tags on the trees down at the community center. If you could feel compelled to, there's a lot of families out there in this local area in need, and they have the items that they want. I know I have a family of 8, and the mom and dad are asking for cleaning products and toilet paper. I mean, these are not fabulous items, they're just necessities, and we're in need of that. So what they don't get done, Nancy will get the money together and go out and shop for all the people that are left, but there's quite a few tags left, I believe.
Ms. Thomas.
Just a quick note that Councilmember Quinn and I will be having a Ward 1 meeting on January 23rd at the bar at 6:30, which is always fun. And one other note, Councilmember Schlossmacher, Flora, and Mayor Appletop and I attended the Advancing Climate Solutions workshop 2 weeks ago, along with a couple members from our Sustainability Commission. And that was a really great workshop to get some tools and resources and really start the conversation on potential green initiatives for the city. So I want to let you know that that's on the horizon, and your local leaders are looking at climate change seriously, and we are looking at what we can do to take action. Thanks.
Also, just a quick update, our Ward 2 meeting is still scheduled for next Thursday, December 27th, and that'll be held at RJ's in their new event space downstairs. So if anybody wants to join us, we'll have some barbecue out there and maybe have a beer or two and talk about what's been going on in the city. Love to hear from you guys. And I don't know if Councilmember Rothrock is planning on joining. She was unsure if she could make it.
I may and may not. It's my birthday, so. Love you all, but I may not be able to.
All right, any other comments?
Just to also add on to what Councilmember Crane said, the event on Friday, for those of you that aren't aware, the City of Mission sponsors a number of families every year. I think we've got about 90 this year that we're sponsoring. These are all people from right around us here in Johnson County with kids that go to the schools around here, and they could really use some extra help. I know that there's still some tags left at the community center, and I know that we could always use a little bit extra money for donations too if anybody out there is willing to participate. Use all the help we can get. If anyone wants to come down on Friday, I know I'll be there, and some of my coworkers, and I'm sure some colleagues here from the council will be there starting at 8 o'clock to help package up meal baskets and wrap gifts. So I really encourage anybody that's interested in giving back to the community to come participate. It's a great event.
Yep, and on that same note, if I could, they wanted some money. You said there's a lot of tags still on there, and they take that money to go out. There's a bunch of the ladies, one of them, they go shopping and pick up gifts that didn't get grabbed off the tree. So on that note, I'd like to put out a little challenge to the city council, and I will match any donation as a council up to $100 per person. And of course, feel free to donate more than that if you want. But that's from the city council, and I hope I have to donate a lot. And I know that you've already given, don't feel like you
You're already in for 100 then.
Okay?
I'll second that.
All right? It's two, I hear three.
All right, moving on to item number 11, Mayor's Report. I wanted to confirm with everybody that we are going to be having a council retreat on Saturday, January 26th. A location to be determined. We will have a facilitator, and tentatively we're planning a clear schedule from 9 to 3. Hopefully we can get through quicker. So January 26th, 9 o'clock for our council retreat. Also tonight, we need to make some reappointments to our Planning Commission. Appointments to our other boards and commissions will be taking place in January. This is only for the Planning Commission. I put before you the appointments of Stuart Braden, Ward 1, Frank Bruce, Ward 2, Charlie Trapito, Ward 3, Mike Lee, Ward 4, and Robin Duclos, Ward 4, to the Planning Commission with terms expiring December 31st, 2020. Is there a motion?
Mayor, I move the city council uphold the appointments of Stuart Braden, Frank Bruce, Charlie Trapito, Mike Lee, and Robin Duclos to the Planning Commission with terms expiring December 31st, 2020.
Second.
A motion and a second. Is there any discussion?
Are any of them here tonight?
Frank is here. Raise your hand, Frank.
Anybody else? Story.
All right. Please call for a vote.
Davis.
Aye.
Schlesmacher.
Aye.
Rothrock.
Aye.
Quinn.
Aye.
Laura.
Aye.
Thomas.
Aye.
Inman.
Aye.
Crane.
Aye.
Thank you. Motion carries.
All right. Next is item 12, City Administrator Report. Ms. Smith, do you have anything for us?
Just a couple of items, Mayor. Just a reminder that our January committee meetings will be on the 9th of January, not the 2nd, as they would normally be. So we'll look forward to seeing everybody there. The agendas are already filling up, so should be a good meeting. Also a reminder that City Hall will be closed for the Christmas holiday on the 24th and 25th. And just generally would like to thank the council and the staff for the hours that have been put in over the course of the year. It takes a tremendous amount of time and effort and energy to do what we do. And this year we've been a little short-staffed, so we haven't been able to get to everything on our to-do list, but look forward to kicking off 2019 and tackling some great things. And so with that, each year we try to put together a year-end video and just take a few minutes at tonight's meeting to reflect on the things that we have accomplished over the course of the year. So thanks to Emily Randall for putting together the video, and we'll hope you enjoy it.
How's our...
There you go.
Pray.
first time you put a picture of me in the.
I'm going to hold that against her.
Anything else, Ms. Smith?
No, that's it, Mayor.
All right,
Thank you.
moving on to item 13. We do have a need for an executive session this evening. Do I have a motion?
Mayor, I move the city council adjourn to executive session to discuss current litigation pursuant to the exceptions for consultation with an attorney on matters deemed privileged KSA 75-4-319D2. Also attending will be City Administrator Laura Smith and City Attorney David Martin. The open meeting will resume in council chambers at...
Maybe could we start the exec session at maybe 8 and then go to 8:10? Give us 5 minutes.
Yeah.
All right, we have a motion, second.
I'm sorry, who seconded? Thank you.
Any discussion? All right, we are in executive. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All right, we're in executive session.
Yeah, you have to wait and go in.
All right, let the record reflect that we are out of executive session back into having no further business, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. We are adjourned.
All right, see you.